Sean here. I'm the lead maintainer of Latterly.io, which is an open source educational platform with a focus on software engineer career development that will help you learn to code, land your first or next programming role, and grow your social and professional networks. You can join the Discord for free here, hundreds of engineers on the Discord. And today I'd like to walk you through building an ATS-friendly resume. This is blogged in article number 9, Resume and LinkedIn Optimization. You can go to the Grow tab, blog, find article 9. And here it will talk about a template, this open source resume template that will take you to Vanderveer/my-resume. Oh, let me star my own thing. Stars welcome. This URL should also be in the YouTube video description if you're watching on YouTube. And so this repository has served me well for a long time, but it currently doesn't work because of WK-HTML to PDF. WK-HTML to PDF, this guy right here, is now deprecated. And so I sent this repository to an acquaintance and they said, I tried to brew install, but brew wouldn't let me install because it's now no longer on brew. The library is no longer there. So in this stream, I'd like to update the repository and we're going to try to find an alternative. So the thing that this library does is it takes an HTML file and it transpiles it to PDF. This repository also uses Poetry. I like UV these days. Use UV version manager. So it's a little more modern, UV over here. So I think we're going to upgrade to UV as well. And at the end of this, we will verify ATS parsing using Enhanced CV, which has a free resume parser. This is recommended in blog article 9. Under the section parsing and keyword density, how do we know that you have a high quality resume? Because you have an ATS parse rate of 100% over here and an overall resume score of 70 or higher on resume worded. So these two metrics will give you a resume that, according to Latterly standard advice, is high quality. Why do we care about the Latterly standard advice? Because it's associated with job outcomes. So on another article, article 15, an original contribution of data, we can see these particular outcomes and they are associated with a resume that meets those criteria, which is my resume that I used last year. So real quick, I'll show you how to compile a resume, then compile a resume the old way. Then we will try to refactor it to get it working in a similar state the new way. So the old way, assuming Poetry is set up, this is all documented in the README. I can run this, Poetry run Python create PDF resume. This will work its magic. We can see it compiles this way, and this resume is produced. Okay. And you can look at it. It's pretty simple. This is a one-page resume. And it's simple and that's good. It's parsable. It's pretty readable too, I think. But the parsability is prioritized over style. I think you can pretty clearly tell that. So this is not like the most stylish resume. A pitfall that I see is some people will get these really stylish looking resumes. They're stylish to human eyes. They're attractive to human eyes, but ATS cannot parse it properly. And so that might mean that the place that you apply to does not know that you have a college degree because it couldn't parse out the education, or you have a degree, but they don't know where, so they can't detect the school, or they don't know about your years of experience. There's a number of deleterious effects. They might not be able to see that you have an email, a GitHub, and so on. All right, so this is a secret file. You can see it goes to these dist folder, and these are not committed to version control. And I'll go ahead and upload it just so you can see the measurement here. So my resume dist, and I'll go for the regular one, not the long one. So I print two versions, a regular, which is a one pager, and then I have a longer one. And I just want to show you what the result from Enhanced CV looks like before we go refactor the code. And I want to emphasize that we are not looking at the overall score. So Enhanced CV is going to look for all this stuff, and we don't care about most of it. we specifically care about the ATS parse rate. I don't care so much about repetition, spelling, and grammar. It's nice to know, if you spelled things correctly, but I would not be encouraging you. So it's going to encourage you to unlock the full report. I'm not encouraging you to do that. The free one will get you the bit that I care about, which is this ATS parse rate. You can see 100% on this template. So now let's go refactor the code, and we will try to make sure that there is no regression whenever we choose a new PDF compiler. Okay, so I'm going to start up a new compose here. I'm using Composer. We have GPT-5 now. Dub in the chat for GPT-5. And here I will give my PyProject TOML and my README over to Composer, and I will say this application currently compiles PDF from HTML using WK HTML to PDF. I'll also give it my create Python resume script. And here's the script code if you're interested. There is a problem. WK HTML to PDF is now deprecated. Let's refactor the code to 1, use UV over poetry for dependency management, and 2, replace WK HTML to PDF with some other PDF compilation library. Create a to-do list and execute the refactor step by step. Check web for up-to-date Python PDF compilation libraries, and select a high quality and well-supported library. And then I'll tag explicitly the web tool here. While it's working its magic, we'll go through the Python code and I'll just tell you what it's doing. So we have Jinja, which is parsing the HTML. Let's see how that's used. The template tool literally wraps the file. So here we're reading in a file, we're reading in this resume.html. And then here's a different HTML for the long form. So you might wonder, how did I have a short one and a long one? And the answer is that there were 2 HTML files. That's how. So we're primarily focused on this short one for now. If you have a long resume, whenever you check out this repository, you might prefer to use that long one. It'll be suitable for candidates with more than 10 years of experience. Although I have more than 10 years of experience and I still go 1 page personally, but it's justified to have more than 1 page if you have more than 10 years of experience, or if you have a lot of academic research, if you're applying for a science research role or an academic role, then that's more acceptable. It's really not going to be a deal breaker to go for a 2-page resume anyway. 1 page is nice. 2 pages can work. The real pitfall is when you get to like an unjustified large number of pages, like 4 or 5 plus pages. And then even 2 or 3 pages can be a bad idea if it's just not well substantiated. That might indicate that your resume is using a suboptimal template that has a bunch of white space or something like that. An interesting related article here is from interviewing.io, which talks about how recruiters scan your resume. Looks like they have a few articles on the subject, so you can go read these. I searched interviewing.io recruiters resume, 1, 2, 3, 4 relevant top articles. So I think this is the one that I had in mind. Let's see if we can see anything about length. The notable thing here is that they don't spend much time, right? So less than a minute. They're looking at your resume for less than a minute. So making them page through pages is going to be a problem. So I'm looking for keywords like single or one page or length. And I'm not seeing much on that here. So I don't know. I don't know that any of these articles specifically deal with pages, or maybe they do, and I'm just like flying through them too quickly. I think this will give you a bunch of tips on your resume, but maybe they don't specifically distinguish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5+ page resumes. Checking in with Cursor. Cursor is still going. What's been done so far? I'll scan the current files and check up-to-date options for HTML to PDF and Python. Okay. So it's getting some data on my UV setup here, basically making sure that I have UV. So it's doing the UV conversion from poetry before the WK to HTML to PDF refactor, which is appropriate. Okay, so we installed some dependencies here. I'll be curious to read what these are. Looks like this one, Wheezy Print. So I can verify this Wheezy Print library. It looks like it's going for that one. And I'm not familiar with this library. Let's see. Smart solution that can help web developers to create PDF documents. Good. It looks appropriate. Let's check on the star count. Over 8,000 stars. Okay. Updated 3 weeks ago, so relatively recent. Certainly more recent than WK HTML to PDF, which was deprecated. Like, I think it went end of life in Brew in 2024, and I think it was deprecated even before that. So full end of life is a little bit more severe and later than deprecation, right? Deprecation is kind of like a warning that it will go end of life or it will become unsupported. Okay, so here it's imported the actual library into the Python code now. I'm staging the dropped lock file. Staging the updated README. I'll read through it myself before we commit. Here in the pyproject.toml, I'm going to bump the version here. And I'll call it 020. I'll even call it 1.0. 1.0, a major change, a breaking change. We're no longer using poetry. That's pretty significant. We're no longer using that other library. Okay. We've got a UV lock file now. We'll stage that to freeze the dependencies with UV. I don't see an instruction to do UV venv, which I usually prefer. That'll create the virtual environment. So one thing that we're going to want to do is update the README to mention UV venv. So I'm not going to interrupt cursor, but I'm queuing up this prompt that I will do next, which is let the README encourage the end user to UV-Venv. And it worked fine for me. Here I can go ahead and source it. So I'm able to source the virtual environment just fine. So Wheezy Print imports HTML. We're no longer using subprocess. This is nice. We don't need to jump out of the Python itself. So it's better encapsulated. I think that's even nicer, actually. And it's going to literally read the HTML path and then write a PDF. I'm a little bit surprised there's no output variable here. Okay, because it's immediately writing to the PDF. And then this is just for logging purposes. Okay, so this makes sense to me. So this is the step where the PDF is created, and then it's added here just for logging purposes. It's not actually generated PDFs, does not actually generate the PDFs. It's more a record keeper of already generated PDFs. So I think it's intuitive enough. So I'll go ahead and stage that. We still want to do a functional test, but from a readability perspective, it looks good to me. I'll eagerly star these guys, even though I might want to verify that it works before I star them. But hey, a little extra star, I don't know that it's ever hurt anybody. Okay, closing unnecessary tabs. So one thing that we can do, he wants to run, cursor wants to run a command. CD over there and sync. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is just updating dependencies. I can do the same thing in my own virtual environment, UV sync. Oh, interesting. When I sync it myself, I saw an issue. So I might want to, I want to make note of this. All right, so when cursor ran the compilation effect or compilation script, it worked. It generated the files with the same log that we saw at the beginning of the stream, so it appears to be working. So I'll go look at the PDF and then I will upload it to Enhanced CV to check for parsability. But I do want to resolve this issue, but that can wait. Okay, so here's the dist, resume. First, I'm just going to give it a once over visually. It's now 2 pages, notably. Again, I don't consider that a deal breaker, but we can see the style is slightly changed. It looks like it's using a slightly different font. And it's taking up more spacing. I am happy to, okay, so I know where some of this is coming from. Some of this is coming from the line breaks and the margins. So you see this one word loans, and then it happens components, and then 80%. So it looks like there's a slight margin difference. And then there's this top margin difference as well. And that seems to be causing it to bleed into 2 pages. I think we can optimize that in a follow-up step. So this looks okay to me if it parses well. And then having it as 1 page I view that as a nice to have. Okay, so let's go over here. New upload, upload your resume. If you're using this program and if your resume prints as 2 pages, I don't think it's the end of the world. Like, just go with it. If it passes the checks in the article from ATS parsing and the the other one. What was the other one? Resume worded, I think it's called. Yeah. If you're passing these benchmarks, then I'm not mad that it's 2 pages. I think that's fine. If it's 3 pages, you know, I think I talked about it already. You're just playing with whether a recruiter is going to bother to read it. But from an ATS parsing perspective, we're still at 100%. So no regressions from this perspective. So I'll go ahead and commit this, and this will be feature use UV and RM WK HTML to PDF. I wasn't able to push the branch for some reason. Can't push pull first. Okay. Hey, I'll see you in a minute. Maybe I have some strange upstream set. I don't expect that I need to do this, but I'll manually say that the upstream is origin use UV. Let's see if I can sync now. All right, we'll use the force push. I'm pushing on a branch, so I'm less nervous about force pushing. That was weird that I had to manually set the upstream, but whatever. Worse things have happened. So we'll use UV and remove this one. Let's look at the files changed. Are they what we expect? There's the lock, Project Toml. It has the major update. Poetry lock is gone. This code is changed as I expect. Cool. All right, so now I can do this. Sir Elfman on Twitch, how does one make it ATS friendly? Hey, you can rewatch the stream, but basically read Article 9 on Latterly blog. So grow, blog, Article 9, resume and LinkedIn optimization. And you want to look for the enhanced CV ATS parse rate. And here we've been discussing the template, which will enable you to have a parsable resume. HR gotta go. They're helpful. Otherwise, the engineers would have to be doing all this stuff, right? Okay, I'll update the README to recommend creating a virtual environment. It's a little bit hard to read in that diff view. So here I'll open it up by itself. We have engineers read resumes where I'm at. It works way better. Yeah, we like I read resumes as well, but I do want an ATS. Like I like the value of an ATS. So just to take the stack of 1,000 resumes and sort them, even if it's just sorting, even if it's not filtering, I found that to be useful. This does vary based on which ATS that you're using. I'm not going to say which I use, but there are a bunch of different ATS. And some of them are better than others, but a good one will save you time for sure. So maybe you can check the top 10. Like I have no affiliation to these sponsored website up here. But you can check these out. Some are better than others, but a good one will absolutely save you time. And a good tech recruiter will save you time. But if your company doesn't have a good tech recruiter, I guess the engineers have to do it. Fine, I'll do it myself type thing, you know? Okay, so install UV, create the virtual environment, cool. I'm going to drop the Windows versus Mac distinction. Whenever you run UV-Venv, it will tell you the right way to source it. So I'll just say, create and activate the virtual environment with, or I'll say using Mac OS system libraries for Wheezy print. Okay. I guess that's going to be fine. Install Python dependencies into your Venv. I think that's a fine instruction there. Well, we can leave it on its own line. That's fine. It's for consistency with 6. We'll keep the syntax consistent. So even though it's like a trivial line, I'll break it to its own line. Optional, remove resume from get ignore. No, we don't want to do that. Okay, and then here is the generate PDFs inside the Venv. Looks good. Okay, so let's verify that I can do this. Cool, and it works for me. PDF Engine, this project uses Wheezy print for HTML CSS to PDF conversion. I think that's enough. And I'll call this built with, which is a little more generic, included in some resumes. If you prefer not to activate the Venv, I'm not even going to talk about this. I want you to use a Venv. Troubleshooting the hatchling editable build error. I don't think we need to talk about this. If they followed the earlier, so the key was to use this no install project bit. Okay, so now that that's mentioned up there, I don't think it needs to be mentioned again in a troubleshooting step. No limitations. You cannot make the HTML body background pink. Basically, styling on the HTML body tag may fail to transpile into PDF. Okay, yeah, that's fine. This bit's more important than this, but I guess this is a example that makes it clear. I think this is just old stuff for whenever you talk to ChatGPT to put your own content into the resume template. Attach your LinkedIn resume.pdf to ChatGPT or a similar tool. Okay, cool. Oh, you're in DC. I'm nearby, not in the city limits, but yeah, in the metro area. Charitha, hey bro, great dedication for what, shout out on YouTube, by the way. Thanks for being here. Hey, whatever channel you're watching on, consider tapping the like button so the algorithm will send it around. Thanks so much. Great dedication for what you're doing, even without much people watching. Can I get a recording of this live later? Yes, absolutely. So on YouTube, you can look for the Latterly YouTube channel, and under live, make an ATS-friendly resume will be saved, and you can totally rewatch it. And all the other live coding sessions and stuff we do with AI agents and the works. Great question. Thanks for being here. Okay, so I think this is a better README. Docs better README. Anything else we need to do? Okay, I'll try to reduce it down to 1 page now. Harambe in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you. Can we reduce the top and side margins on the PDF, or will that Yeah, I'll just leave it like that. And then if it will create a parse issue, I will see it. So I'm asking it to do 1/2 inch on the side and the top. So this is more than 1/2 inch, I'm guessing. Could be wrong about that. Could even go down to 1/4 inch. Okay, so here's the CSS put in there. Let's see how this looks now. We're still bleeding into a second page. What if I make the margin 0.1 inches instead? Now the margins are too small, I think, and we still don't have it down to 1 page. So the margins are not the whole issue here. Yeah, just about to do some gaming for the first time in forever, but saw you streaming, wanted to support you some. I appreciate it, bro. Feel free to DM me depending on the game if you're going to. Oh, you're going to play games or stream games? If you ever stream, let me know. But if you're playing by yourself, have fun. So the outer margin is not going to be good enough. We would need to do something with the interior margins. And maybe the font size. So I wonder if we're ignoring the CSS file. No, I think WK HTML to PDF has some default CSS, and the new engine simply has default CSS, and I haven't tinkered with all the CSS. I'm not sure I want to. You can see there's little bits of spacing between these lines I could remove, but honestly, I worry about shrinking it much more. So let me remove this page CSS. Let me remove this and just keep the CSS inside of the HTML as it originally was. Okay, we should see those margins expand. They do. And now I'm going to drop the CSS directly in here. And interesting, we have this magic page variable, which did not exist in WK HTML to PDF. So I think this is the difference. And I can still refer to it here in the HTML itself. So that's nice. But the 0.1 inch is too thin for my blood. So I'll go 2.5 and we'll just kind of see how it looks. This looks better. I could tolerate this. Let's go for 0.5 and see if that's excessive. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a waste. I don't know. This is kind of opinion, right? I'll go for 0.25. Play, I don't stream. Okay. What games do you play? Got till Thursday. Yeah, hit me up. I mean, I can show you my. I just don't play a lot of them right now, but I'll put my stream library on screen momentarily. Strategy games, RPG games. I can do a shooter, but they're not my favorite. What's this 4X games? Age of Wonders. I like that one a lot. And then Endless Legend is pretty good too. I would say probably hit me up for those, or Civilization. Or yeah, if you want to like kill some time with some kind of a shooter game, that's fine too. I haven't played them. I'm not very good, but I'll play them. All right, Steam is taking some time, so never mind. All right, chat, I think that's going to be it for today. I'm going to leave mine as this 2-page form. It doesn't bother me that much. I did slim down the margins, so you can tweak this as you please. And then also, it may fit on 1 page for you. And so maybe that's good enough. Thanks for being